welcome to the latest event in the Sentinel Masterclass series that we've been presenting as a webinar for Cocho. So today's talking points, we're going to do some introductions, see who your presenters are, a little bit about Cocho, and then we're going to dive into cybersecurity cost challenges and managing those costs when it comes to Sentinel. And like I said, there'll be a Q&A at the end. Next slide, please. So your presenters today are myself, Anna Webb, Head of Global Security Operations here at Cocho. And with me, I have Simrat. Would you like to introduce yourself, Simrat?
Absolutely. Thanks, Anna. So hi, everyone. Pleased to meet you all. My name is Simrat Kaur. I am Cyber Security Specialist here at Microsoft. Thanks.
Thank you, Simrat. And also we have Zlatko with us as well. Zlatko, would you like to do a quick intro, please?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Anna. Hello, everyone. My name is Zlatko Apelic. I am Senior Technical Specialist for Cybersecurity, Compliance, and Identity at Microsoft. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next slide, please. So to get into the details then of what we're going to discuss today. So why is cost transparency key when it comes to managing your security operations? Well, some of the issues really is that cost can actually delay or derail adoption of a particular solution or tool. Cost is obviously one of the things that the board worries about and that management worry about. And if a tool is looking to cost a lot of money, then there is always going to be that question mark of what is the return on investment going to be and how much do we actually need this tool? A lot of organizations struggle with a number of elements. Estimating cost accurately is a particularly high one, and that's one that we come up against a lot in the security operations at Cocho, is trying to help our clients to actually understand what the cost of implementing a particular tool is going to look like. Again, understanding that return on investment, security, much like IT used to be, is one of those areas that it's a need to invest rather than a want to invest. And it's very difficult if you cannot really demonstrate that return on investment to gain more investment from the board. And then managing ingestion efficiently is really, really important. You can ingest all the logs, but ultimately that does cost you, and not just financially, it can actually cost in bandwidth, etc., depending on the solution you're using. So today's session is really about clarity, control, and having the confidence in your ingestion, what you're bringing in, and making sure that you're not compromising on your security posture, but you are keeping those costs under control. Next slide, please, Latko. So I'm going to hand over to Simrat now, who's going to take us through the Microsoft Sentinel business value and pricing overview, one of the areas that needs a bit of demystifying, I think, for some people. Thanks, Simrat.
Thanks, Anna. Hi, everyone. As Anna just mentioned, this is the second session of a two-part series on Microsoft Sentinel that we are doing with Cocho. So in last session, we covered how Microsoft's unified security operations platform provides a single view of end-to-end security operations. We included demos of Sentinel, XDR, threat intelligence, and security co-pilot's capabilities. In case you missed that session, it is also available to watch on demand on Cocho's website. So in today's session, we will focus on Sentinel costs, unpack the different pricing models and benefits, and how you can optimize your overall Sentinel costs. Now, before we dive into cost, I wanted to spend some time showing you the business value that our existing Sentinel customers are seeing. The detailed report on total economic impact of Microsoft Sentinel is also available publicly for you to read. But at a high level, the purpose of this study is really to provide you with a framework to evaluate the potential financial impact of Sentinel on your organization. And the summary is really that the increasing sophistication and frequency of cybersecurity attacks is leading organizations to modernize their SOC and to ensure protection. Security teams work to collect, correlate, and analyze data from various sources to identify and mitigate incidents. And Sentinel is a comprehensive SIEM solution for that proactive threat detection, investigation, and response. And as a cloud-based solution, it enables you to eliminate some of the extra activities, the extra infrastructure related to security, the operational costs associated, while scaling to meet your organizational wider demands. So customers have seen an ROI of 234% over 3 years. Now I'm sharing these numbers. However, it's advisable that you work with your specialist, discuss your specific needs, your costs, and then build an ROI model which is tailored for your organization. It's 44% less expensive, and as we will see in today's session, Microsoft Sentinel provides a flexible consumption-based pricing, and it gives you a better control over your costs, which then results in the number that you are seeing, like 44% reduction in TCO over legacy solutions. Then 85% reduction of labor for advanced investigation. What that means is it leads to increase in efficiency, and hence the effort required to do those advanced investigations is reduced, which then allows your analysts to focus on higher priority tasks. 93%. So Microsoft Sentinel comes with a pre-built SIN content and out-of-box functionality, thereby reducing the need for time-consuming integration work. Similarly, 35% reduction in the likelihood of data breach. How Sentinel enables that is it enables better visibility into your organization's risk profile. Hence, you can reduce the impact of cyber threats. And then 79% decrease in false positives over 3 years. This might resonate with some of you. Sentinel's AI-driven correlation engine and analytics then improves the mean time to respond, MTTR, by reducing the number of false positives. Now, apart from all this, which I've listed here, there are some unquantified benefits like the reduced compliance cost, the ease of use, the reduced business risk. So example of cyber risk translating into business risk could be an IP breach, which is a strategic risk. Then reputational risk with, let's say, customer PII breach. Then compliance violation triggering a fine, which could be a financial risk. Now, as we move to the bottom half of the slide, I've listed few advantages specific to Microsoft Sentinel, other than the generic ones like scalability and centralized visibility. I probably will not go deeper into all of them as we want to spend more time on the costing, but just at a very high level, as I mentioned, it offers deep native integration because it is worked to build seamlessly with Microsoft 365, Defender, Entra, Azure Purview, so that it's built in, it's not bolted on. Then as we move through the session in next 1 hour, we'll talk about some of the free data ingestion from Microsoft sources, the flexible and transparent pricing model. Then you benefit from the global threat intelligence, which ingests 65+ trillion signals every day from Microsoft Security Graph, which in turn powers the built-in analytics and rule sets. Similarly, the advantages that you get in terms of rapid deployment and security copilot integration on the top. So as we move to the next slide, I would like to start with some of the Sentinel pricing principles. Now, these are the principles which are shared by our GBB, our global black belt team. They've put together this, they do a lot of competitor study and analysis, but without mentioning any specific competitor name, I would like to mention that Sentinel has one of the simplest pricing models in the industry. And one of the intention of today's session is to really help you simplify our pricing model as much as we we can. So first of all, we are the only vendor that has a fully transparent pricing model, which is publicly available on our web pages. Everything is documented with examples with actual pricing in every currency across every data center. So you do not have to rely or wait for the sales rep to share the pricing with you, at least the list pricing. The second piece is that we are also the only vendor that doesn't do long-term contracts on Sentinel because we are following the metered framework of Azure. It's good to have an idea about what ingestion is going to be from your sources, but you will never be committed to pay it, or you will never be kind of contractually bound to anything. You start paying for what you ingest and what you consume in Azure. And if you don't consume anymore, you are just off board and the bill disappears. Also, we don't have any concepts of average billing. If you consume more, you just pay more. So there's no real hidden cost or any secret complexities to it, so to say. The other thing is that the benefit of Microsoft pricing model is that we will continuously innovate in the product to help you reduce the overall ingestion cost, optimize your environment as much as we can. The recent example is the AI-powered SOC optimization feature and the auxiliary logs, which are recently introduced, which are 15 times cheaper for you. Now, as we keep moving to the next slide, we'll see how simplified your Sentinel pricing model is. Now, this slide is something that I've put together to just break down the actual elements of Sentinel pricing that drive, to tell you what really drives cost and where to put energy if you want to bring down the costs. So also the main attempt is to just really simplify it for our users. So simply put together, there are three elements to pricing: data ingestion, data storage retention, and then what we call optional capabilities. Well, you might say we see the cost of data ingestion and data retention. What's the optional capabilities that you are not telling us? Well, these are additional capabilities with minor costs, and I've added some description like the SOAR capabilities, the UEBA features, the Copilot for security, etc. So typically these costs are less than 5%. Reality is somewhere between 0 to 2% of your total Sentinel spend. Just to give you an example, we don't have any customers in Europe consuming more than $300 a month on automation related to Sentinel. So it's probably never going to be an issue for you. And of course, if you think you are going to use this a lot, spend some time with your specialist and dive into it. Now, on retention, this is something you can use our tools to model the overall cost, but in normal case, it never exceeds 10% of the total cost. Well, you might say you have stuff in retention that you need to search. Is there a search cost? Yes, there is a search cost. It's hard to scope it because it depends on how much you use it. But just to give you an example here, the cost of a search or a query is $6 per terabyte queried. So you know it's probably never going to be a material part of your overall cost. And also that it's not our business model to make money off your queries on your searches. So it's a small service in Azure, and we do not have any customers with excessive billing issues there. So it's not where you need to be worried. If you need to focus on cost or maintaining budget, that's on the data ingestion piece. So rather look at what log sources to ingest, how to really transform them and make sure that only the relevant data goes into the SIM. I've put in some description there on the logs, and we'll spend majority of the time of our session today going into the log ingestion sources and how you can optimize some of these costs. Also see how you can leverage some of the benefits available from Microsoft. So as we move to the next slide, you will see which all benefits are available. For example, you can save up to $2,200 per month on a typical 3,500 seat deployment of M365 E5 for up to 5 megabytes per user per day of data ingestion into Sentinel. So depending on how much you are ingesting per day, you can leverage this benefit. Our website has details on what products, what data connectors, data types are included in this offer. Similarly, there's a Microsoft Sentinel benefit for Defender for Server Plan 2 customers. Now, Azure Monitor Log Analytics and Sentinel customers with Defender for Server Plan 2 enabled get 500 MB per virtual machine per day of free data ingestion. The allowance is specifically for some specific security data types that are directly collected by Defender for Cloud. Since the Sentinel bill includes the Azure Monitor Log Analytics for the specific tier, the benefit applies to the entire Sentinel bill. There's more information on our website as well as blog that we can share with you in the chat window as well. So to learn more, probably dive deeper, and the best option would be to work with your specialist on how these offers are impacting and how you can leverage them a bit more. If not 100%, then at least some percentage of it, because some of these are really broad categories. Then there are some free data sources. So Microsoft 365 data sources like your Azure activity logs, your Office 365 audit logs, all SharePoint activity, all Exchange admin activity, alerts from Microsoft Defender for Cloud, Microsoft 365 Defender, Microsoft Defender for Office 365, Identity, Defender for Endpoint, Defender for Cloud Apps. They're all always free for all Sentinel users on an as an ongoing Microsoft Sentinel benefit. And then another important point, which is ingestion optimization and how you can save cost with that. That's where, as I said, majority of the time will be spent in today's webinar. And I invite now our next speaker, Zlatko, to cover some insights on that.
Thank you, Simrat. So yeah, let's dive into ways to optimize your Sentinel spending. So first of all, I would like to expand a little bit on Sentinel pricing structure, as Simrat laid it already. We have, in regards to data ingestion, we have analytics logs, which are the expensive ones. They are used for detections with analytic rules and high performance querying of data without additional charges. Interactive retention is free for first 90 days. This is basically first way how to save if applicable to your use case. I would not recommend keeping the data in this interactive or hot state more than 3 months. And as we are seeing with our customers, this is typically just enough for security operations. If there's a compliance reason that you need to keep your logs for a longer period of time, then you can use archive storage tier, which cannot be used for detections, but can be used for forensic investigations and general compliance purposes. So we do have basic logs, which are cheaper to store your logs, but the balance of saving versus capabilities of these logs might not be that beneficial. So we recently published auxiliary logs as secondary types of logs and security information. And these are kept in interactive retention state for 30 days. After the initial 30 days, the logs are moved to long-term retention. And in long-term retention, the data is not readily accessible for interactive queries, but can be accessed using search jobs. And then we also have summary rules with which we can enable the promotion of high-value summaries from auxiliary logs to analytics logs. In other words, some portion of auxiliary data will also be ingested as analytics data, and we can speak about summarization rate in that regard, but this is typically under 10%. Yeah, I think everything else on this slide is quite self-explanatory. So let's move on to discussion about techniques, how you can reduce logs ingestion, as this is the bulk of your pricing structure for Sentinel. So as with any other SIEM solution, it is important to ingest logs from variety of data sources in order to have good detection coverage and effective security data correlation. However, this should be done in planned manner. Some organizations, especially those migrating from on-prem SIEM platforms, tend to ingest way too many logs. This will increase the overall cost of their Sentinel solution, but also can introduce unnecessary noise and thus reduce the effectiveness of their security operations. One of the most effective ways to optimize Sentinel cost is by reducing unnecessary log ingestion. So let's explore some of techniques to achieve this. First of all, we can remove low-value data sources and relevant tables, because not all logs are created equal. Sorry. You can start by auditing your current data connectors and tables manually, or with the help of a new feature in Sentinel, which is called SOC optimization. If a data table isn't tied to any analytics rules or hunting queries or investigation workflows, it's likely not worth the ingestion cost. For example, verbose logs from performance monitoring tools or legacy systems may not contribute to your SOC's detection capabilities, and you should redirect these to a non-Sentinel log analytics workspace or disable them entirely. This step alone can significantly reduce daily ingestion, the volume of daily ingested logs. Secondly, you can implement log filtering by using data collection rules. DCRs allow you to filter and transform logs at the point of collection before they hit your Sentinel workspace. This is also sometimes referred to as ingestion time transformation, relying on KQL. So, for example, you can drop noisy or redundant fields from your logs. You can filter out low priority events. For example, successful logins from trusted sources, or you can route logs to basic logs or auxiliary logs, or archive tiers for cheaper storage when full analytics aren't needed. This gives you fine-grained control over what data is ingested and how it's stored, helping you balance visibility with cost. There are community and Microsoft provided templates on GitHub for common DCR scenarios that you can explore and potentially use. Thirdly, you can address, you should address ingestion anomalies and spikes. This is where well set up proactive monitoring helps you catch issues early and avoid surprises on your invoice. Unexpected spikes in log volume are often caused by misconfigured agents, new workloads being introduced, or the ongoing security incident. They all can lead to budget overruns. This is a screenshot from SOC optimization feature, which is available recently added, to be honest, to Sentinel. It's available both in Azure platform and in unified SecOps platform. Because it can take a significant amount of work to customize and manage SIEM to address unique business needs. This tool can help you in various ways. It can help you with increasing your coverage, which is not a topic for today, but it's very relevant. It's very important in this tool. Yeah, you can address specific use cases that you want to be covered better against, like human-operated ransomware, or adversary in the middle, or business email compromise, etc. The tool will recommend additional analytics rules to enable or potential additional data sources, but it also gives you recommendations when it comes to data cost optimization. What is also very important to mention is that this tool is tailored to your own environment. It will track usage patterns, and it will automatically identify unused data and suggest ways to get more value from it or find the right tier. For example, if usage pattern is infrequent querying and not detection, then the potential recommendation might be move that data to secondary tier or auxiliary tier. Or for example, if usage pattern is no usage, then the recommendation from SOC optimization tool might be move those logs to archive or remove them altogether. So I just wanted to real quickly give you a tour of this tool. It's simple to use and it's very intuitive. So you can in a unified SecOps platform, this is where you can find it. And when you click on this item, then you can choose what are you looking for. Are you looking for better coverage or looking into data value? And for today, we are gonna look at data value. So you can, for example, we have many examples here, as you can see, but I don't know, this one, for example, says that there is a low usage for this particular table. So there is a recommendation what to do with it. Sometimes it will tell you move it to some other tier or remove it altogether or something like that. So I definitely recommend looking into this tool. It can help you reduce your costs. Then there is another tool which I personally find amazing. It's called Microsoft Optimization Workbook, which is built to provide deep insights into your Sentinel deployment, not only in regards to costs, but it will definitely offer actionable recommendations to reduce costs. In addition to that, it will also help you improve operational efficiency by tracking important KPIs of your security operations, and it will also help you enhance threat management and visibility. And this workbook is structured into 3 main tabs, each with a summary and detailed view. So the first one is interesting for us today. It is called cost and ingestion optimization. For example, it analyzes top data ingestions, anomalies, pricing SKUs, commitment tiers, and also E5 benefit usage. It helps identify cost drivers and optimize data ingestion strategies. It includes charts and metrics on basic logs, search jobs, and the data collection rules. Yeah, so, and let me again give you very quick walkthrough of this workbook. There is a template available in Content Hub. So if I go into workbooks and search for optimization, there is this workbook. I don't have it enabled in my environment, but I can show you through the template. So, you can go very deep with this tool. You can go, I mean, as deep as you need, pretty much. So it can be used even with more skilled security personnel, as opposed to SOC optimization tool previously shown, which is very intuitive and you can use it without any deeper technical knowledge when it comes to Sentinel. So, for example, we have just a sec. We have this first tab here, which is called Cost and Ingestion Optimization. It will give you an overview here, but then also you can deep dive on each of relevant sections, like, for example, top ingestions. What I like a lot about this tool is that on the right side, you will get full description of what it is about and the steps how to improve what you need to improve. Okay, so it's quite useful and quite actionable. So yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but just wanted to show you and to recommend using this tool. It's quite capable. For example, it will also give you some ingestion anomalies, looking at trend of your data ingestion, but also then identifying any anomalies that would potentially occur. And again, on the right side, you will have the description of everything that is shown here. So moving on with our presentation. So, and then next important set of activities that you should do is in order to stay ahead of those already mentioned ingestion anomalies, such as sudden spikes in your Sentinel spend, you should implement effective monitoring for your spending with Sentinel. So there are a couple of techniques here. So for example, you can define budgets and set up alerts for ingestion anomalies using Azure Monitor, or you can use a Sentinel Playbook for cost management alerts. You can also use diagnostic settings in order to cap ingestion or redirect access logs. And then you can also review ingestion trends. You should, review ingestion trends regularly and then correlate them with changes in your environment. A little bit about auxiliary logs. This is, as I mentioned, new plan, which is a good fit for those high volume logs, but low threat detection value type of logs. So this plan offers much lower retention costs compared to the analytics plan, and this makes it cost-effective solution for storing such high volume, low fidelity logs that are not frequently accessed. Auxiliary logs are particularly useful for storing verbose logs such as network, proxy, and firewall logs. These logs are crucial for security investigations, but have limited individual security value when it comes to threat detection. And this table gives an overview of different types of logs shown in the first column as log category, and then on the in the right side, 2 columns, you can see what's the expected log volume for that type and what's the actual value for threat detection. So we are looking here for any types of logs that have medium to low value for threat detection. All those logs that have high value for threat detection should go into analytics. Into an analytics tier plan for logs, and analytics rules would be used to detect any nefarious activities. But for example, as shown on this slide, any logs coming from LAN, WAN, SD-WAN, or VPN devices might go into auxiliary logs. Yeah, so this is and you can basically decide on level of table which log, which tier to use. What else is worth mentioning here? Yeah, I think that's it. And we sometimes use a rule of thumb 70 to 30%. Usually we can send 70% of logs into analytics and then 30 into auxiliary. This is rough, very rough estimation, but you can start with that. Yeah, so this is another way to save. A new way recently introduced by Microsoft in order to save on your overall Sentinel costs. Then we have commitment tiers. So in contrast to the pay-as-you-go pricing model, customers can commit to certain volume of data that they will ingest on daily basis. So in that regard, you can commit, for example, to 100 gigabytes, 200, 300, etc. In that case, you will get billed a fixed fee based on the selected tier, thus enabling a predictable total cost. And and as soon as you commit to 100 gigabytes, you will benefit from significant discount, as you can see here, to the pay-as-you-go list price. The more data you commit to ingesting, the higher the discount. It is important to mention here that this is relevant only to analytics logs. So this is not relevant for basic or auxiliary logs. But again, analytics are the most expensive, so it makes sense. And you can configure commitment tier that you want to use by yourself in Azure portal. You can increase it anytime, which will restart the 31-day commitment period. However, to move back to pay-as-you-go or to a lower commitment tier, you must wait until after that 31-day commitment period finishes. With Sentinel, as we have seen in practice with Sentinel deployment projects, there's usually some onboarding period where customers would gradually increase their ingestion. So after you enable all data connectors that you planned, then ingestion tends to stabilize, and this is when you should enable appropriate commitment tier. And Simrat briefly touched on this. I will just expand a little bit more on different benefits that are available when customers are using other Microsoft products and services. So first of all, we have a so-called E5 benefit. It's not only E5. it's also relevant for other SKUs, as you can see here. So, and on the page that describes this offer, you can actually scroll all the way down in the FAQ section to look at which products are actually eligible for this offer. So as you can see here, the list is long. So it's not only M365 E5, it's also E5 security. It's also a mix of F and A and G licenses. So do visit this page and see if you have any other types of licenses being procured by your organization. So it is important here to mention that certain data sources are included as shown on the slide. So Entra ID, sign-in and audit logs, then Defender for Cloud Apps, Shadow IT Discovery logs, Microsoft Purview information protection logs, and also M365 advanced hunting data. Yeah, this is regarding this benefit, and the next benefit is in regard to Defender for Cloud, more specifically Defender for Servers. Plan 2. So if you deployed your Sentinel into the same log analytics workspace as your Defender for Cloud, then you can benefit from this saving. So it's up to 500 megabytes of free data ingestion per server per day, but only for qualifying data types as shown below. So, but these types of logs are typically all you need when it comes to log in collection from your servers. So, but just bear in mind that these are types of logs collected from those servers and their operating systems. Again, I think Simrat mentioned that it is in practice never 100% of 500 megabytes, because then you typically won't have any spent in Sentinel. But it's a percentage of this, but typically we are looking at maybe a third of it or something like that. But it can be a significant saving if you use Defender for Servers P2. If you have some other, if you have Defender for Servers P1, for example, or if you have some third-party EDR solution, then you might consider upgrading your protection for your servers to Defender for Servers P2, because not only that you will save on Sentinel, but you will also get very advanced protection for those servers. So yeah, this is something to think about if you're not already using it. Then we have also always free data sources, which are ingested for free in Sentinel, but you should be aware that typically this would contribute up to 2% of the overall cost. So these are not significant saving, they won't bring significant savings, but are relevant to understand. So again, there are some types of security data and logs being ingested from M365 and Entra side of things, and which are free of charge. And lastly, there is another new recently published way to save on your Sentinel solution with this so-called Sentinel pre-purchase plan, sometimes abbreviated as P3, which allows, this is basically a program which allows customers to prepay for so-called Sentinel commit units, which are then used to cover eligible Sentinel usage over a 12-month term. So you can think of it as a reservation in Azure that you do. You pre-purchase a certain pool of credit of commit units, pool of commit units that can be used as credit. And then it also it will simplify procurement. Sorry, it will offer predictable costs, but the main idea here is that customers will be incentivized to higher commitment levels through tiered discounts, and based on the tier that you commit to, as you can see, the discount can go up to 25%. So depending again on how much you spend on Sentinel annually, this can introduce some significant savings. So a couple of pieces of information here. So this program applies to all Microsoft Sentinel pricing tiers, but it excludes Azure Monitor tiers, data retention, data restore, and search costs. So those eligible Microsoft Sentinel retail costs will automatically deduct first from Microsoft Sentinel commitment units over the course of its 1-year term, or until they are depleted. Customers can purchase multiple P3 plans, and then commitment units with the earliest expiration date will be consumed first. Once those are depleted, the system will automatically transfer to the next P3 commitment units. Any unused commit units will expire at the end of 12-month term. And also there is no cancellation option once a customer purchases P3 commit units. So that's it from my side. I would like to hand over to Anna again.
Okay, thanks, Latko. That's great. Very informative there. Lots of lovely detail as well around the costs and how to manage them. But how can Kocho help you manage those costs as well, so that you can, use Sentinel with confidence? So it doesn't matter whether you're just starting out or whether you're using Sentinel. Our XDR service allows you to take advantage of the support that we offer with managing your costs. So some of the things that we can help with are, the estimation and planning of those costs, so we can take some of the guesswork out of it as well. We can help optimize your existing setup. So if you are a client who or a company who already has Sentinel in place, but you're finding that you've got log sources that you want to bring in, but you're cautious to do so because you've already got escalating costs with existing log sources, then we can actually take a look at what you're currently running, look to optimize that, and then reduce any unnecessary spend so that you can take the benefit from other log sources that you might want to bring in. So the service really includes that ingestion analysis, looking at what you're ingesting, what you could be ingesting, what you're not ingesting, but that you want to, and also the tuning around what you are ingesting as well. So it's, certain elements of log sources don't always need to be brought in. As Latko said, not all log sources are created equal. Although I do think that not all log sources are created evil is quite a good one as well. We can help with log source rationalization. I know a lot of people are concerned about things like firewall or network-based log ingestion because it can be noisy. But if you do need to take in those log sources for regulatory reasons or for audit purposes, there are solutions that mean that maybe you don't actually have to ingest them. They can be stored offline, cold storage, etc., and can be run through at a later date if needed. Planning. If you want to plan to move to a commitment here based on what you're currently ingesting, we can help with that as well. And then ongoing cost monitoring and governance as well. So making sure month on month that you are within the budget that you set. And if that needs to change, then we can look at that as well. Next slide, please, Latko. So just to give you a brief overview for those of you who are not familiar of our managed XDR Rapid Protect service. So this is our main security operations managed service contract that we offer. The biggest thing really is around that sort of onboarding. It is AI powered. We do use the sort of SOAR capabilities within Sentinel, lots of playbooks that we have available to be able to remove machines from the network or disable accounts if they've been compromised, and many more things that we can offer as well. Hassle-free onboarding. The onboarding can take less than 24 hours depending on your setup, but all the really important log sources around your identity, etc., those can be set up and monitored very, very quickly, which is something that our clients find very, very beneficial. It is based on the market-leading Microsoft technology, so we are using Sentinel and Defender, and obviously it's got that 24/7 monitoring as well, so that you have that peace of mind that somebody's looking at your data and making sure that any incidents overnight are being dealt with the way they should be. Next slide, please, Latko. So if you're ready to take the next step, then one of the things that you can do is actually book a cloud security discovery call. It's a 1-hour pre-sales call with an experienced COCHO consultant, and you can see the details there of what you will be able to get from that 1-hour pre-sales call. So you can find out more about the funded workshops from Microsoft as well that you might be eligible for. You'll be able to have support for your deployment and adoption of Defender and/or Sentinel, and you can speak to us as well about the sort of wider secure cloud transformation strategy depending on where you are with your cloud security journey. Next slide, please, Latko. So with that, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening, and we'll open the floor now. We've got 5 minutes till the end of the webinar if anybody has any questions on any of the things that have been raised and presented today in the webinar. So I've got a couple of questions. I'm just going to answer the first one. So somebody's asking, they missed the first 8 minutes. The recording will be shared. So the webinar is recorded, and the slides and the recording will be shared with everyone who has registered. So yes. Second question, I understand that for M365 E5 subscribers, there's a free allowance of data ingestion per user. Can you elaborate on that, please? So I'm assuming they're referring to the E5 data grant. Zlatko, do you want to take that one?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I think we already covered that to certain details, but again, it is about ingesting for customers using E5, but also some A and F and G licenses as well. These are applied automatically at the end of the month, so no enrollment is needed for this or nomination process, and it is about saving. It is up to 5 megabytes of free data per user per day. To be ingested in Sentinel. Again, depending on the number of licenses, this can be significant. And data sources included in this offer are Microsoft Entra ID sign-in logs, Microsoft Entra ID audit logs, then Defender for Cloud Apps, Shadow IT discovery logs, then Purview information protection logs, and ultimately Microsoft 365 advanced hunting data.
Thank you, Zlatko. Does anybody else have any other questions that they may want to ask? Like I said at the beginning, if you do think of anything that you want to ask, or if something pops into your head when you're rerunning through the webinar recording, or maybe looking through the slides and you want to ask a question, then do feel free to reach out and we'll be able to address those questions as well. I think there is one more slide, Zlatko. Oh, no, that's it. Okay.
I think, yeah,
No,
there's one.
yeah,
Sorry about that. Yes,
that's it. Sorry. Yeah, so it's just to re-emphasize that if anybody is interested in having a discussion with one of our consultants, you know, that there is that option to book a free cloud security discovery call. All it'll cost is an hour of your time. So if you are interested, you want to know what else we can support with regards to Sentinel Defender, and you know, looking at sort of tailoring those things to your requirements as well, because we very much realize that, you know, it isn't a one size fits all for our clients, then please do feel free to reach out. So time's just reaching 1 o'clock. So I would like to say a final thank you to our presenters, Simrat and Zlatko, for that wonderful webinar today. And thank you to our audience as well. Very pleased that you were able to join us, and hope to see you very soon on our next webinar and event. Thanks very much, everyone.